Alrighty, g'day guys, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we have a draft analysis for another APA league. King of those at the moment. But we're in APA Academy Season 2. This is a Wi-Fi league, 24-man, basically the D-League to APA's main Wi-Fi. Should be a lot of fun. This season we decided on a Civil War format, so out of the 24 coaches, they're split into 3 even teams of 8, and you battle you take to weeks go as normal. You battle for 12 weeks against 12 different coaches, but you will not battle anyone on your own team. And then at the end of the regular season, the team with the most points will be awarded the most playoff spots, and then so on and so forth, with the team that doing the worst gets the least playoff spots, and yada yada yada. So on top of the Civil War format this season, we also decided to do an Ubers format, where each player will be given the choice to use 1, 2, or no Ubers. It is a points-based draft, so there was 140 points allocated, if I'm remembering correctly. You're allowed to use 50 of those for Ubers, and Ubers ranged from 30 points to 21 points. So bottom line is, if you got one of the real top tier Ubers at 30 points, you could not get another one because you only had 20 points left in your Ubers budget. But enough of that admin stuff out of the way. Let's get into what you're here for, which is my draft analysis. And we had pick 17, which is basically it's 3/4 away down. So all that top good stuff is not going to be available to me. There were still a few things left on the board. One of the things I considered grabbing was like a Rayquaza was left. One of the Deoxys forms was left. I think it was Deoxys Normal, because I think Attack went early. Yeah, Deoxys Normal was left. But ultimately, I decided, after talking with a couple of guys on my team who have played a little bit more Ubers than me, I decided on going for our first pick, which is Groudon. And this thing is huge. Like, it is a pure ground type. It has base 150 attack, 140 defense, 100 HP, 100 special attack. It gets drought. It's got 90 in Spadef and speed. It's a stealth rocker. It hits hard. It can run Swords Dance or Rock Polish. You can run a mix set with like Overheat and Solar Beam, and Fire Punch in the Sun basically gives it a stab. It is a phenomenal mon. Its water weakness is reduced because you've got the sun. So it's really only weak to ice and grass. Grass, not the greatest defensive typing, and ice, well, we can patch that weakness up later. And I thought this mon looks really fun to use. It's this big colossal beast that can just claim KOs. Decent speed tier at base 90, so it can actually outrun a fair few things before we get a Rock Polish up. Decent Scarfer, it can set rocks and be a bit bulkier with that base 140 defense, and only really having 2 weaknesses, unless you stay in long enough for the sun to expire. But yeah, this is a really nice mon, some great coverage, and there's really not much to say about Groudon. It's really phenomenal at what it does, staple in the Ubers format, and at 25 points, I think it was actually pretty reasonably priced. So yeah, that was our first pick. Next pick, on the way back, I decided to grab another Uber because I was really wanting to get the two of the best things that were left on the board, as long as they synergize well, and really build my team from there. And what was left is a mon that's actually intrigued me a fair bit, and it was Dawnwings. This mon looks really interesting to use. There's a lot of different sets that you can run on it. It's basically Necrozma's move pool on a Psychic Ghost, so it only has 2 weaknesses in Ghost and Dark. Dark and not the best types to be weak to, but again, we can patch that up down the line. It has a phenomenal special attack stat of 157, great bulk in 97, 109, and 127 in HP defense and Spadef. It's base 77 speed, so it's fast enough to be able to run like an Autotomized set, but it's also slow enough to run like No Speed Trick Room, and that's something that I really like doing. It's mixed offenses. Although it's got that 157 special attack, it also does have 113 attack. So this thing can be really versatile. It's got that Prism Armor ability, so it takes 3/4 damage. It's like Filter from Mega Aggron, takes 3/4 damage from, or half damage, I can't remember which one it is, from super effective hits. So pack that with a Resist Berry, and like you're taking something like a Banded Weavile's knock. If you've got a Colbur, or if you've got a Colberry, you can take like 30% from that, and that's ridiculous for a 4 times weak mon. And that was a calc I thought of off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's something around there. But yeah, this mon looks really, really fun to use. It's another big, strong hitter for my Uber. I thought that was really nice. But we can also run defensive sets. It gets recovery. It gets a lot of setup, and it's just a really nice mon. Dual stabs hit really well. But yeah, so moving on, we got our next pick, and our first 2 mons, they were base 90 and base 77 speed, and speed tiers are something that I think are very important in draft. Because if you have mons like, well, in standard tiers, the likes of Mega Lop, you like some Mega Aerodactyl, something a bit hard to hit, but if you can have them go freely adamant, then that's so much harder for you to build for. So forcing mons to go, or just being able to outspeed those sort of mons, is something I find very important. And there was this mon that was left on the board, and I really I've been wanting to try this mon for a while. And I mean, we've gone through 2.5 rounds now, so the caliber of mons is going to be dropping, and I decided to grab Zeraora. And I was like, this might be a little bit early to pick this, but it's an electric immunity. So that's 2 now. It means that take that roll off Groudon a little bit, so we don't have to be switching in Groudon all the time to take those electric hits. So that was nice. We've also got the fantastic speed tier at base 143. We got mixed offenses. We can run like bulk up sets. It can be Volt Switch like Grass Knot, HP Ice for special sides. We got Close Combat, Plasma Fists, of course, which looks really nice on Wi-Fi, by the way. Definitely not why I drafted it. But yeah, with Volt Absorb as well, it's going to be that real, just sort of come in, pivot out, come in, like clean things up with a speed tier that's really hard to hit. It's going to force some Scarfers, and force Scarfers to maybe even go Timid or Jolly instead of being able to go Adamant. So it forces a lot of prep, and it's a mon I like, and it's something that, coming to the end of Gen 7, I haven't used this mon yet, and I'm quite excited to build with it. I think it adds another dynamic to our front 2, or our first 2 picks, and that's always what I like to look for in a draft. Something that can add another dynamic, so it can be a threat, force prep, and potentially give us another playstyle to play to. And yeah, so that was Zeraora. I thought fit those roles nicely. So now we're going on to what is our 4th pick now, and for the 4th pick, I wanted to really patch up some of these weaknesses, because we had nothing that could resist Earthquake at the moment. Like EQ Spam was very good against us. Nothing that really resists Knockoff or Shadow Ball like Dark or Ghost moves. And like we were missing a couple of those key types. Grass, we had nothing to resist that, and that's a bit of a problem for Groudon. So I decided to grab Hydreigon, and this also gave us some removal. It gave us an Earthquake immunity, or ground immunity, sorry. It gave us a Dark and Ghost resist. It gave us a Stall Breaker with Taunt, some reliable recovery, a Dragon type, starting on our Fairy Dragon Steel Core, albeit a little bit late, but it is what it is. But yeah, so this is a phenomenal mod. Everyone knows what Hydreigon does, but now it hits the same speed tier as Groudon, which is a bit, Actually, no, it doesn't. It hits 98. What am I talking about? The number's in front of me. So it's almost at base 100, which is like, it's close enough. It'll do. 125 special attack, 105 attack, 92 HP with 90 in both defenses. So it can be kind of bulky. It gets Roost, so you can run it that way. It can run physical with like Crunch and all that good shit. We got Outrage, Aqua Tail, Iron Tail, I think, which is like some really nice coverage. And then you have the special set. It's phenomenal. Scarf. It gets U-turn for momentum. You get moves like Fire Blast, Flash Cannon, Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse. Like you can hit every mon on your opponent's roster with at least something. Like there will be no like fairies. You've got Flash Cannon to hit them. So like a Frail Fairy can't just switch in, take a couple of dart moves. It's like you got to be able to take a Flash Cannon from this thing. So yeah, it's a really nice mon. It can patch up a lot of holes. It can hit a lot of mons that sometimes aren't that easy to hit. And when it can't hit something, you can predict that and hit a U-turn, and you're out of here into one of our first two mons or a Zeraora that can break something. And again, I was talking about adding a dynamic to that team, and I think this does. It forms a nice Volt turn call with Zeraora and Hydreigon, and if we've got a Groudon in the back that has like Swords Dance or Rock Polish, like you really can't afford to let that mon set up for free. So it adds mind games into the opponent, and that's realistically what I'm aiming for here. So moving on, we've got what are we up to now? Our fifth pick. I'm glad it's on the screen because otherwise I would have forgotten. We've got a mon that I really thought paired well with a lot of the first four mons, and that was Ribombee. I needed a fairy. I needed something fast, but not uber fast like Zeraora. Had a really big speed gap from 143 to 98. And I also needed a little bit more pivoting. This is a very much an offensive, like in your face sort of draft at the moment, where you're hitting something and then you're getting some momentum out. You're trying to get into your big hitters, and I thought, what fits that sort of team best? And I was like, webs with Groudon, webs with Dawnwings, webs with Hydreigon. Like Mons can not forcing Groudon to set up a Rock Polish, or not forcing Necrozma to set up a Trick Room or an Autotomize to be able to sweep, is phenomenal. Like, it allows something like an Adamant Groudon to be outspeeding mons that it really shouldn't, and that can just rip through teams. And I thought it also pairs well with a few of the picks we have coming later on in the draft. This is a mon that I really do enjoy. I wanted to use it quite a lot at the time we drafted this team, like God knows how long. It would have been a month ago at least we did this draft, and that was at the time when I didn't have my IBA team. Yeah, I hadn't taken over IBA, so I was really looking forward to using Ribombee. And since then, I've picked up IBA, and I have that on that team. Go check out. Well, those videos will be coming soon. Yeah, soon. Next few days or so. And yeah, so this is a mon that I really thought looked cool. It also has Quiver Dance, so you think you Scarf to outspeed, you switch it in as I click Quiver, and oh, whoops, I outspeed you again, and I'm starting to hit hard. Bug Fairy is a really nice offensive typing. It also gets moves like Psychic, Grass Coverage. It's really phenomenal mon, and it's very frail. It's base 60 HP defense and base 70 SPDF. Like, it's not taking hits. It's got base 55 attack, so it's very much, it comes in, it sets webs, it clicks Quiver, it clicks Moonblast or U-turn or something like that. It also has Stun Spore, really nice for paralyzing things, those really fast, annoying things. But yeah, so that was where I went with this pick. I thought Ribombee was, it was a nice pickup. We're starting to, again, this is my fifth pick, so we've had 24 coaches have 4 picks each, and then like 16 pick another one, so there's not a lot on the board at this stage. Which leads me to my next pick, and I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't play hyper offense overly well, and at the moment I have my bulkiest mons, and also my 2 hardest hitting mons. I need some sort of a defensive core, and this is where I got my next pick. I was like, I'm missing a Grounded Poison, I'm missing a defensive Grass type, I'm missing a Mega. You can probably see where this is going. I'm missing that, 80 speed tier is not amazing to hit, but it's just sort of filling out those gaps. And I grabbed Mega Venu, and I really like this mon. It's a lot of fun to use. It soaks Toxic Spikes. It has Thick Fat, so where we were building a little bit of an ice weakness with Hydreigon and Groudon, this is a grass type that effectively isn't weak twice unless it's like Mold Breaker or like a Kyurem Black hit with Terravolt or something like that. So realistically, this mon has 2 weaknesses in Flying and in Psychic. And Psychic, we already have really good answers to that in Hydreigon, and we got Dawnwings. And Flying, well, we have Zeraora at the moment, and we will patch that up a little bit later. So yeah, this is a really nice mon. It can be run both physically or specially defensive. It also gets 122 special attack and 100 attack, so don't sleep on this thing if I decide to run a bit of an offensive set. It gets Synthesis in the Sun. Normally grass types in the Sun are basically 4 times weak. This main Thick Fat plus Sun cancel each other out, so that's another reason why I liked this grass type on the team. As I said, Synthesis in the Sun, 75% of your health back. That is really nice. Gone are the days where you needed to hit 55% or something to stall out to make sure this mon couldn't just synthesis up in front of you. Well, no, I can stall your PP by getting, unless you do more than 75%. You can set Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, Toxics, like gets Earthquake, Dual Stabs. Like this mon does a lot, and it's a really nice sort of. I'm not sure what I want to bring this week. I'm going to throw a Mega Venusaur on the squad, and it was even seeing this mon in team preview. Like if you don't know, like Zeraora, you might see that in team preview and go, okay, this is either going to be an offensive like bulk up kind of set, or it's going to be like a mixed pivot sort of set. With Mega Venu, you see it in team preview and you're like, well, what's happening here? It's also not first turn Mega, and so it does get Chlorophyll before it Mega Evolves, so I can play some shenanigans there, maybe outspeed something, and then Mega Evolve on the next turn and become bulky again. It's like, it's a fun little games I can play there. But yeah, it was mainly here for the defensive role, and to be able to just soak hits. It was only 2 weaknesses, it fit the squad nicely. But yeah, moving on, we got our 7th pick, and our 7th pick is going to go hand in hand. We need a defensive water, something I'm very, very much a fan of, and I think is a necessity in the draft. We got Alomomola. I hate facing this mon, and I'm hoping that I can make some other people hate facing and prepping for this mon as well, because it is so fat. It has base 165 HP, so that is like almost Chansey Blissey level, but Chansey and Blissey have kind of garbage physical defense. This mon has 80 physical defense. It has 45 speed F. It gets Wish. It gets a whole bunch of things. It gets Regenerator. So you throw up a Wish, you take a hit, you're down to like 40, you take 40%, you switch out and suddenly your Aloe's healthy and you've healed something up. Wishing into Groudon, wishing into Dawnwings, wishing into Mega Venu, even Zeraora, Hydreigon, like this mon is going to allow a lot more aggressive switches, and aggressive switches into things that hit as hard as our first few mons do is very, very scary. That's what this mon does. It soaks hits, it can throw Toxics, it can throw Scalds for burns. You often don't need to actually run a lot of EVs in HP, which is phenomenal. It also isn't the slowest, so it's like base 65, which means it can outspeed some slower things. And maybe get a Scald off, fish for a burn, get a Toxic off, get something like that. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of deep thinking going into this pick. It was, I need a defensive water. What's a defensive water that's there? It's Aloe. There's not a lot left on the board for defensive waters at this point. I did probably leave this a pick late or so. So I grabbed Aloe and it gave me Wish support. And that was the roles that I wanted to fill. Going down to pick number 8 now. Pick number 8, I needed a fighting type, because there's a lot more steals that get added in with Ubers. There's a few more, so that means darks. There's also more psychics, which means darks are more prevalent. I needed something that could be a bit more of a bulky attacker. I needed a fighting type. And I looked on the board, and one that I really like in Buzzwole was still there. I do like Buzzwole. It's beast boost, so you get defense boost, you can get attack boost. It's a good Scarfer. It gets some nice. It's a nice AV mon because it does get recovery in Drain Punch and Leech Life, so dual stabs can recover things. It's a really nice mon. It hits very hard physically. You're never running a special Buzzwole because it has base 53 attack, but base 139 attack and defense with 79 speed is it's nothing to scoff at. And although the speed tier is something that's pretty close to Dawnwings and very close to Venusaur, it gave me another viable Scarfer. It gave me a fighting type. It gets EQ. It gets a lot of things. Poison Jab, Drain Punch. It also fun. Like there's a few fun little techs you can do incorporating that Trick Room that I had with Dawnwings. I won't say those because I don't want people to start prepping for them. It's a really nice mon, and I think it fit well with what I had going before. It is a second bug type, but they fit very different roles. And I also wanted an EQ resist, because at the moment, like, my grass type didn't do that. My bug type was really frail. It was like Hydreigon was taking all of my EQs or my ground moves. So I picked Buzzwole is pretty much your perfect Earthquake switching, because it takes 0 and can hit hard back. Now we're moving on to getting towards the end, And I mentioned the Trick Room thing, and I was like, you know what? I really need another piece to that. I'm missing a steal still. I've got a bit of a flying weakness developing. What fits all three of those? Stack Attacker. If A Drive were here, he would have picked this round 3. Um, but I'm not him, and this mon is still very, very phenomenal though. You can set up a Trick Room, and in some cases, like with Z moves, I forgot to mention that this is a Z mon. Our Z mons are this, Rabombi, and Zeraora, I'm pretty sure. So this is a Z mon. You can set up Trick Room with Beast Boost and a Z move. It can sometimes be, although you're giving me 3 KOs with this mon because you have a switch in, I Z move that and take it out, and then it's a +1 Stack Attacker that's under Trick Room. Nothing underspeeds this unless you got like a Munchlax or something, or a Pugamuku, I think are the only, like, one of the 2 of the 3 mons that can underspeed this. Yeah, so it forces more prep. It's also very defensive in the fact that it's got base 211 defense, only 61 HP, which is not great. 101 Spit F, so it's kind of bulky there, and then with Aloe Wishes, it's getting like 75% of its health every time it catches one. So it's another rocker, which is what I needed, because at the moment my stealth rockers were Groudon and Groudon. And so yeah, I needed that. Yeah, it just sort of, for this late in the draft, it fit very nicely with what I wanted. Like round 9, you're not going to be getting something amazing that's going to be breaking teams down, but I felt like this was a really nice fit. Round 10, I grabbed Delphox, and I needed a fire type. I needed something else that was over base 100 speed, but only just sort of thing, so I could fill the speed gaps. And that was Delphox. Delphox is a really fun mon. It's a secondary Wish Passer. It's another Psychic, but I felt comfortable in my answers to Dark and Ghost that I didn't mind having a second Psychic. Its Magician is cool. You can run no item Delphox and then steal something. It gets Fire Blast, Psychic, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, Calm Mind is a nice, so you can run like a bulky Calm Mind. Yeah, it's a really nice mon with some nice coverage, and it's not the most frail either. Like, with like 75 HP, 100 Spit F, you can run a specially defensive set. It's got both 114 special attack, so it's pretty nice. It's a very nice mon to sort of fit where I was, what I had. Well, it fit with what the points I had left. I didn't have very many at this point. It was just sort of, it was the sort of like, well, I need a fire type. There's a couple other roles that I want to fill later in this draft, so I decided to grab this mon, and I think it fits very well. It's not a round 10 pick that'll come one game in the whole season. I think it'll come a few games, and it'll force some prep, which is, again, something I very much like doing. Round 11, I grabbed Archeops. I needed a base 110 speed tier. I needed another rocker. I need another flying resist. There you go. That was simple as that. It's a really nice suicide lead. It can get up rocks. It can click head smash. It's not a Zmon, unfortunately, just the way things worked. The Z on this obviously makes it better, but I think it was like 3 points, and I'm not wasting Z on that. So I decided, yeah, look, this mon is pretty good. It hits really hard for a 3-point mon with base 140 attack, and people sleep on its special attack, but that's 112. So you can actually run a hidden power for like a steel type that might check this thing. You do get Earthquake, you get Flying Stab, Stone Edge. It hit 110 speed tier. Like Endeavor is a nice move you can run on this. It's a very nice mon. John Jr. has used it very well in APA main, so hopefully I can do that. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's a 3-point mon. It's gonna force a little bit of prep, give me a little bit of utility, and that's all I can ask for. Last but not least, though, our final pick was Kecleon, and I wanted another rocker. Something else kind of Spit F that didn't really force, so I wasn't forcing Mega Venu into that role every week, because special Psychic types with Shadow Ball coverage, and a Mega Mewtwo Y or something with like Psychic Shadow Ball, with fighting coverage or fairy coverage kind of hurt. Protean is really nice here because you can mess around with moves like Fake Out, Shadow Sneak. It gets some other priority, I'm pretty sure. It gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Recover, so it's a nice mon, I think. And it was like 3 or 4 points. When considering you get 140 to start with, like, that's pretty good. And your 1 point mons are all your little cup things that are never coming to a game ever. So yeah, I thought this mon was pretty cool. It's a low point mon that I can see coming to games. It's decent attack in 90, good SPDF in base 120, decent enough defense in like base 70. This is Kecleon. It doesn't. Everyone knows what